Hi everyone, today I will show you how to extract the output of a specific launch from a Phantom. The idea is that you would like to only get the output data from a launch, but you don't want the cumulative data from all the launches. So let's jump in together. The first thing to do is to grab an API key from your PhantomBuster account. For this, you will need to click on your name on the top right corner of your PhantomBuster account. Then on API keys, add an API key. You will get a new API key that you have to copy. My first recommendation if you want to launch an API call is to go on the API documentation of PhantomBuster. As you can see here, I went under containers because in PhantomBuster, we call a launch a container. So with this endpoint containers/fetch all, you will be able to get all the details from the different launches from a Phantom. And that might be your starting point if you want to only get the output from a specific launch. You first need to have the ID of this container. So I will head back to my PhantomBuster account and select a Phantom to get the details of all the launches. I will select this one, a Sales Navigator Search Export Phantom. When I click on Activity, I can see all the different launches from this specific Phantom. There were 2 of them. So now to get the information of these different launches, I need to take the ID of the Phantom, which is here on the URL between Phantoms and console. I will copy the ID, get back to the API documentation of PhantomBuster, and paste it under agent ID. Then I'm ready to launch my API call. So as you can see here on the response of this API call, I got the different details of the containers. So I have the ID, the status, the timestamp of the creation date and when it ended, the launch type, and so on. So now I will be able to take one of these ID in order to fetch the output data. For instance, if I take the second one, I will copy it. Then we'll go under the containers fetch result object endpoints. So with this endpoint, I will be able to get the output data from my specific launch. I will paste my ID under query parameters ID and then launch the API call. As a response, I got the result object with all the data of the profiles I was extracting. If I go back on my Phantom and hover the specific launch, click on View Log, I'm scrolling down and I'm also getting the result object here. So basically with my API call, I was getting this result object. I will now show you how to do it on an A10. So you will click on the plus and select HTTP requests. We are on a get method, but here on the URL, we'll need to paste our endpoint. Then after my endpoint, I need to indicate the Phantom ID. So I have to write a quotation mark, agent ID equals the ID of my Phantom. Then you need to select send headers and here to indicate your API key. As a name, you will have to write x-PhantomBuster-key with a capital K, and you will paste your API key on the value. Then I think we are all good. You can hit execute step. Okay, so we got our response. So now I will launch a second action, which will be also HTTP request. And now I want to get the output data of the specific launch as I was doing before on the API documentation. So it's also a get method, but the endpoint is different. It's the containers fetch result object. But then same thing here, I need to indicate which container I want to fetch. So I will add a quotation mark ID equals, and then I could hard code the ID of the container if I know it. But I don't need to do that because before we were fetching all the containers with their IDs. And you can see them on the left here under input. The one I'm interested about is the second one. So I will click on this one and drag the ID at the end of my endpoint. So you can see that it appeared as a variable. We can see it here in green. And same thing, I should not forget my API key. So I will select send headers and then fill the API key under value. So I think we are ready. I can click on execute step. I got an error, so I will check if I did everything well. I have my API key, everything is good here. And what about my endpoints? I can see that's the right ID. But I think I added a space between the ID equals and the ID. So I will remove it, and I think this is the reason of my error. So I will click no on execute step a second time. And this time I got my result object. So this is all for this tutorial. As a recap, on this video, you learned how to fetch the information of the multiple containers of one of your phantoms, and then to fetch the output data from one of these containers. So I hope this was useful. And if you need to learn more on the PhantomBuster API and how to use N8N, don't forget to watch the other videos. Catch you in the next one. Thank you for listening.